So there's been a change of plans. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the Out of the Desert podcast. I'm Bryan and joined by Ryan Harrington as always. And yes, we got some things to talk about today. This is going to be a little different episode. It's going to be very, very real, very raw, very from the heart. There is no script. There is no anything like that. We have a general direction we're going with this thing and some information to kind of get out there for you. But other than that, we're just going to be completely real with you. And so I guess kind of right off the bat, let's just not waste any time. Let's get into the whole thing. There's been a little change of plans for us. We started this podcast with this idea of it being more clinical, I guess you could say, in a lot of the subject matter and what we talk about. And we realized, I think we've mentioned a few times before, the last couple episodes, we realized very quickly on that we should stick to what we know, and what we know is Bible and Scripture and things of the Lord. And so we're kind of doing some restructuring in what we're going to bring to you. So I guess kind of, what are your thoughts on that, Ryan? What's you rolling around?
Well, just kind of behind the scenes stuff, right? That you and I have been talking about since we started this. And we've kind of mentioned this throughout all these episodes that we've done so far. The genesis of this is me saying, hey, I love what we do with Joshua Tree, but I also want to see what else we can do. Are there more reaches out there? Are there more ways we can help people and touch people? Being involved in ministry for 20 plus years, growing up in the church, I mentioned in my story, I'm not sure maybe I ever should have pastored possibly. And if so, then maybe not in the movement I was in. Don't know that I fit there, but, that being said, that desire to help people and serve people is still very much in my heart. Then I started having this conversation with you. Obviously you tell your story of growing up in the church and ministry, and, you have a heart to serve people and help people, minister to people, maybe not the way that it was being grafted to you as you mentioned your story, that it had to be this way. And I think, I know talking to you about it and you're talking to me about how, there's, I want to be able to do something. And then it says, hey, what about a podcast? And then, so I think the genesis of the podcast for us was this desire, should I use the M word, ministry, to bless people and minister to people. And then at the same time, because we are Joshua Tree and we are a service provider with the state, and we are a business, and we are, in the business world and realm. I think to begin with, we were trying to walk that balance line probably between ministry and, Joshua Tree. And I think we got to like 3 or 4 episodes ago. I think you and I were like bantering after the thing was over with, because we kind of started talking about vision and mission. I got to Elijah, and we had some notes. You had some notes. I had some notes. I don't know that I really used any of mine. Don't know how much you used, but we both talked about how it just felt organic to talk about something from our hearts, which was Scripture, which was the Bible. And you mentioned the whole expert thing, man. I have a bachelor's degree in education, psychology, history, sociology, studied all that, certified to teach all of it, economics. I have a master's degree in leadership and discipleship, Christian ministry. I'm not a counselor or a therapist. You have all these certifications and trainings with media and web design and, all this kind of stuff. You're not a therapist, and so I think there came a point, at least for me, where it was, why should people want to listen to us? What do we really have anything to say of substance, or are we just kind of getting on here and wasting people's time with an opinion? And then number 2, what has God put in us? And shouldn't that be the well that we kind of pull some water out of if we're going to try to share and bless people. So, yeah, I think it's been a great journey, but I do think that maybe it's time for a reset,
Mm-hmm. And so, kind of with that in mind, for the most part, the podcast is not going away. It's still going to be here, but we are going to be taking a little bit of a break. We're looking at probably over the summertime, because there's so much going on through the summer, normal family vacation stuff to other things going on with Joshua Tree and stuff like that, and also to kind of give us time to kind of do that reset, because we have a lot of planning going into this. Lead up to it, we didn't just jump on and start recording one day and with no plan at all. But we've realized the plan we had set out is not the right plan. So, so this will give us the time to kind of back up, kind of even pray about like where we should go with this thing, and that way we'll come back and look at August coming back, start back up again on the next episode, and really just go all in with it. In the direction that we feel like we should be going, and direction that we feel comfortable with going, and don't know exactly what it looks like yet. I got a feeling it'll be all the same sorts of themes. It'll be about helping you find hope and helping you find peace. Because things we've experienced, we want to share that joy. But we'll probably throw some other stuff in there too. I'm sure probably a little potpourri of different subject matters and things. And we'll have some. I'm sure we'll have some guests on here, more guests to kind of share their expertise on things and bring in some more expert opinions on some stuff, possibly, or expert voices. So the point blank of it is that we're not going away, but we are going to take a step back for a couple months, just to get our footing, just to kind of get a better understanding of where we're heading, and really coming out of our couple of podcast episodes on like mission and vision, kind of realize that our vision was wrong with this thing. I'm not ashamed to admit like a lot of that thought process came from me, and I was wrong on it. I missed it. And so I feel like the best thing for us to do, and we talked about this at length the other day, is just to take some time and kind of really get it, kind of flesh out what that looks like in a better way, in a more complete way. So we're not, and like Ryan said, we don't want to waste your time. We are thankful for every person that listens to us, talk for 30 plus minutes, that watches us. We're very thankful for you taking the time out of your day and hearing what we have to say. And so we're not going to waste your time by just throwing stuff together half-heartedly or with like an hour worth of notice, trying to throw something together and just see what sticks. So we want to make sure that everything we bring to you is going to be something that's going to help you in some sort of way throughout your life. And it's going to be something we can be proud of, ultimately. And so you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you've nailed it. It's so, I'm proud of what we've done. It took some pretty big steps to get there. You shared your story. I shared mine. We talked to Chris and got to hear a lot of his stuff. Kind of uncovering the different things of dealing with hope and leaving the desert and coming through things, and I know you have, I know I have. I've got messages, some emails, some texts, that people have been blessed by it. And thank y'all for listening and being a part of this. And I think for me, it's those messages, it's that knowledge that people are watching and that people are tuning in because they are interested in hearing what's going to be said, or possibly they're looking for that hope that we keep talking about. And so I think I feel an obligation, talk about Joshua Tree. One of our, core 4 values is, pursue excellence. Colossians 3:23. My dad preached it to me, I think probably the day I was born, didn't even know it. But that's the way it feels like of, anything's worth doing, do it right. Do everything as unto the Lord. And I think you and I have had, like I said, we've had those conversations of, hey, if we're going to do this, let's define what it is. Is it just 2 guys talking about how they get out of a desert? Is it just, 2 guys trying to share their stories and hopefully you like it? Is it 2 guys trying to share some scripture, or is this two guys talking about people with disabilities? Is it two guys? What is it? And I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole the next step for us, because we are in this arena with Joshua Tree, and then we also are in this arena of ministry and what we've experienced and what God has used us in the past and called us maybe to do. All that being said, I think having a more central vision of it, and I started kind of feeling the same thing with the vision and mission thing. Here we are telling people, have a vision for your life. Where do you want to see things go? And then have that mission of how am I going to get there? And so I think we know what we wanted this to be. And if we're going to do this, what we want it to become. So how are we going to do that? And I think that's what the break is for. It's for you and I to kind of be able to put our heads together, pray about it, throw some stuff together. If you're one of those that listen pretty regularly, tell us what you think. Hey, what jumped out at you that really ministered to you or that really impacted you or that you really liked hearing about? What would you like to see more of, less of? Because I would like to take all of that, and us just, all right, let's see, what we're going to do. In so many ways, it's, and I hate to use this, so feel free to edit it out, possibly. It's almost like a church plant to a degree of you can feel in your heart that, hey, I want to plant a church or I want to start a ministry, and God can put that in your spirit and God can put that in your heart. But then you've got to know where to put that ministry at, where to put that church at. How are you going to go about doing that? And I think for us, I think God planted something in me. I think God planted something in you. We came together. Let's do a podcast. Let's see where we go. And I think the longer we've done that, 11 episodes? Is this episode 11, episode 12?
Episode 12, yeah.
12, yeah. So through 11 episodes going into today, I think we've been trying to accomplish those things that we talked about. And in the process, realizing, okay, God put something in me. God put something in you. This is kind of what we wanted. Is this the right way to go about doing it? And I think we kind of reached that place of yes and no. And so step back. This is what we want to accomplish. This is how we're going to accomplish it. And then we'll roll this thing back out again. So, again, very, very glad we did this. We can talk about different highlights or things that kind of jumped out at us, but I think it's been a good thing. I know people have made the comment. So again, thanks for watching and being a part of this little journey. And I think we're hitting pause, not necessarily stop, but hitting pause. And we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, because the timing feels right too. Because we're going into the summertime, so it's like the season time is right. But also what we've covered so far, it really laid a lot of groundwork so you can know who we are. If you don't know us at that level, you know who we are, you know where we come from. So from here on, we refer to Joshua Tree or we mention our story, like you know where we're coming from. We're not just some person talking about something that they have never experienced, but we've experienced what we say we've experienced, we've talked about. And so that's kind of a key thing too, is and kind of tying back into the whole mission and vision thing. Like I think it's a perfect way to show what that looks like as far as if you get the vision wrong, you get the mission wrong, there's nothing wrong with press a pause, not stop like you said, but pause. Yeah. Step back for a little bit and figure out where to go from here. And then when you do figure that out, charge forward, full blast, full speed ahead. And that's what we plan to do.
That's the plan. So again, thank you everybody for the journey so far and for the comments and the encouragement so far. Really, really, really appreciate it. And, again, if you have anything you want to add or email us or text us, if you know us personally, go to the contact page. If you don't, say, hey, I'd love to hear more of this. Y'all talked about this. I'd love to hear you talk about more. If you like, the scriptural direction we kind of took the last 2 or 3 episodes, playing around with Elijah's story and everything, man, tell us that, because that'll help provide us some direction on, again, while we are, praying and trying to figure out how this thing needs to run. Again, you can know what you want to do. How are we going to flesh it out? And so knowing who you're ministering to, or knowing what the need is helps us kind of get an idea of, okay, hey, this is this is the deficit. Let's step in to fill it. This is what people are needing. So let's be, the answer for that, instead of just, again, we kind of like doing this. Let's put it out there and see what happens. So, yeah, I think it's great, man. And thank you, Bryan, for pulling me out of my shell a little bit to do some of this. So I think this is, I took a little, I guess, 2.5 month journey back into pastoring about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And that's beyond that. And I've done some worship at a couple of churches for, a period of 2 or 3 months at a time. But beyond that, and some experience I had and all that kind of stuff, this has kind of been my first foray into, individual, single, quote unquote, ministry kind of thing of, let's just get here and talk and share the word and share our hearts and see what happens. And so I used to do that every Sunday behind a pulpit. So there's been some challenging times for me. There are times that we've done the podcast and I went home and my wife said, well, what do y'all talk about today? I don't want to talk about it. Well, why not? It sucks. It's terrible. Well, it can't be that bad. I hate my part in it. I don't think I did anything worth anything, and it's just, the process that I was going through of getting myself to a place of thinking that way and ministering, again. So, thanks for pulling me out of the shell, man. It's been I've enjoyed it and not enjoyed it at times at the same time, but it was a good thing. It's one of the things that it needed to happen. So I'm glad. So I'm glad we did this. Looking forward to see what it becomes.
Oh yeah, for sure. And yes, definitely let us know what you want to hear about, what you want us to talk about. I mean, we're starting with a blank slate. So if you send something our way, it may have been our plans for next when we do come back in the next few months and everything. So you can always email us. Like I said, there's the contact page at thejoshua.org/podcast. Thank you for again taking a few minutes out of your day to listen to us and kind of hear really our heart on what we want this thing to be, what's going to be. And we'll look forward to seeing you again in August.
Yep. Thanks so much.